Hey guys, Victoria Paxton here. Thanks for stopping back by my YouTube channel. New do. What? Still trying to get used to it. So yeah. Okay guys, today we're going to talk about Orenthal James Simpson. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's free. And listen, if you're a fake psychic, get off of YouTube. Save yourself the grief. If you're a real psychic, hey, hi, hello. I'd love to get to know ya. Okay, here we go, you guys. So, Orenthal James Simpson was born on July 9th of 1947 in San Francisco, California. He was the son of Eunice, an orderly at a psychiatric ward, and Jimmy Lee Simpson, a custodian for a Federal Reserve Bank. OJ's father was also a well-known drag queen in the Bay Area. Later in his life, Jimmy Simpson announced he was gay, and he died of AIDS in 1986, which is sad. OJ was called OJ from day one and didn't know his given name was Orenthal until a teacher in 3rd grade read it. He didn't even know that was his real name. Get out of here. Simpson had a brother, Melvin Leon Truman. He went by Truman. And one living sister, Shirley Simpson Baker, and one deceased sister, Carmelita Simpson Durio. Simpson grew up in San Francisco and lived with his family in the housing projects of the low-income Potrero Hill neighborhood. As a child, he developed rickets and wore braces on his legs until the age of 5, giving him his bow-legged status. I'm sorry, his bow-legged stance. Oh my God. He earned money by scalping tickets and collecting seat cushions at Kaiser Stadium. After his parents separated in 1952, when OJ was 4 years old, he and his siblings were raised by their mother. In his early teenage years, Simpson joined a street gang called the Persian Warriors and was briefly incarcerated at the San Francisco Youth Guidance Center. His future wife, Marguerite, whom he dated in high school, described him as a really awful person back then. After his third arrest, Simpson happened to meet with baseball star Willie Mays, who encouraged him to stay out of trouble. OJ said it helped persuade him to reform. At Galileo High School in San Francisco, he played for the school football team, the Galileo Lions. He graduated in 1965. The first selection in the 1969 NFL-AFL draft was held by the AFL Buffalo Bills after finishing 1-12-1 in 1968. They took Simpson, but he demanded the largest... Y'all ready for this? He was a POS back then even. Listen. They took Simpson, but he demanded the largest contract in professional sports history. $650,000 over 5 years, which is the equivalent to $4.1 million in 2023. This led to a standoff with the Bills owner, Ralph Wilson, as Simpson threatened to become an actor and skip professional football. He was always so cocky. Eventually, Wilson agreed to pay OJ. Simpson entered professional football with high expectations, but struggled in his first 3 years, averaging only 622 yards per season. Bills coach John Roush, not wanting to build an offense around one running back, assigned OJ to do blocking and receiving duties at the expense of running the ball. In 1971, Roush resigned as head coach, and the Bills brought in Harvey Johnson. Despite Johnson devising a new offense for Simpson, Simpson was still ineffective that year. After the 1971 season, the Bills fired Johnson and brought in Lou Saban as the head coach. All right, so Saban went on to build the team around OJ. Yippee, yay for him. Okay, before the 1978 season, the Bills traded Simpson to his hometown San Francisco 49ers for a series of draft picks. He then moved back to the West Coast. Simpson played in San Francisco for 2 seasons, rushing for 1,053 yards and 4 touchdowns. Physical problems influenced him to retire from football. His final NFL game was on December 16, 1979, a 31-21 loss to the Atlanta Falcons at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. His final play was a 10-yard run on 3rd and 10 for a first down. Simpson acquired the nickname Juice as a play on OJ, a common abbreviation for orange juice. Juice is also a colloquial synonym for electricity or electrical power, and hence a metaphor for any powerful entity. The Bills' offensive line at Simpson's peak was nicknamed the Electric Company. On June 24, 1967, Simpson married Marguerite Whitley. Together they had 3 children, Arnell Simpson, Jason Lamar Simpson, and Aaron LaShone Simpson. In August of 1979, Aaron drowned in the family swimming pool. Oh my God, that's so sad. Simpson met Nicole Brown in 1977 while she was working as a waitress at a Beverly Hills nightclub called the Daisy. Although still married to his first wife, Simpson began dating Brown. Simpson and Marguerite divorced in March of 1979. During the 1984 Summer Olympics torch relay, Simpson carried the torch on Santa Monica, California's Incline Road, running behind Brown. Brown and Simpson were married on February 2nd of 1985, 5 years after his retirement from professional football. The couple had 2 children, Sidney Brown Simpson and Justin Ryan Simpson. The marriage lasted 7 years. Brown claimed that by the end of 1989, police had visited the couple's home 8 times for domestic violence calls, and they did not help her in any of them. Happened to me, y'all. That was back before there were spousal abuse laws. On December 31st, Brown phoned the police saying that she thought Simpson was going to kill her. She was found by officers hiding in the bushes outside their home, badly beaten and half naked. Authorities said Simpson had punched, slapped, and kicked her. He pleaded no contest to spousal abuse. A family friend claimed that Simpson had told Brown's friends that if he ever caught her with anyone, he would kill her. Brown filed for divorce on February 25th of 1992, citing irreconcilable differences. That was nice of her because she could have opened up on him and let everybody know. This was after she found out that he had been allegedly having a year-long affair with model Tawny Katane. You remember Tawny Katane from the music videos in the 80s where she was in white, stretched out on the car? I remember her. Reports suggest that in 1993, after the divorce, Brown and Simpson made an attempt at reconciliation. In October, Brown called the police to report Simpson was being violent again, after he had allegedly found a photo of a man that Brown had dated while they were broken up. Again, officers had to intervene. The two broke up again seemingly permanently, in May of 94. According to Sheila Weller, they were a dramatic, fractious, mutually obsessed couple before they married, after they married, after they divorced in 92, and after they reconciled. In total, prosecutors for Simpson's murder trial found 62 incidents of abusive behavior by Simpson towards Brown. That's so sad. After Simpson retired from football, he began playing golf, which was a constant in his life before and after the acquittal. He often played in both the Los Angeles area and after he moved to Florida, the Miami area. Okay, so ready for this? Y'all remember this, right? Unfortunately, shortly after midnight on June 13th of 1994, Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman were found stabbed to death in the courtyard outside Brown's condo in the Brentwood neighborhood of Los Angeles. Police determined the murders had taken place on the night of the 12th. Goldman had been there to return to Brown a pair of glasses that her mother had lost earlier that day. The knife used was never found. Simpson was an immediate person of interest in their murders, and there was never any other suspect found. He maintained that on the 12th, he had been at home waiting for a limousine to take him to an airport for a flight to Chicago. After police gathered all the evidence, charges were filed and a warrant was signed for Simpson's arrest. Simpson, in agreement with his attorneys, was scheduled to turn himself in at approximately 11 a.m. to the Parker Center Police Headquarters on the morning of June 17th. Simpson failed to turn himself in, and he later became the subject of a low-speed pursuit on the 405 freeway by police while riding as a passenger in a white 1993 Ford Bronco SUV, a vehicle owned and being driven by his former teammate and longtime friend Al Cowlings. According to Cowlings, Simpson was armed in the back of the vehicle with a pistol, holding it to his head and threatening to pew-pew himself if he was not taken back to his Brentwood estate. This caused the responding California Highway Patrol officers to pursue with extreme caution. The police closed the nearby highways. As Cowlings rode, Simpson's lawyer, Robert Kardashian, the father of the famous Kardashians, publicly released a letter from him saying, "Don't feel sorry for me. I've had a great life, great friends. Please think of the real OJ and not this lost person." He was arrested shortly before 9 p.m. The chase was shown on nearly every live television station. Stations interrupted coverage of the 94 NBA Finals to broadcast the incident live. With an estimated audience of 95 million people, the event was described as the most famous ride on American shores since Paul Revere's. Tens of thousands of people gathered on Los Angeles streets and highways to view the chase. The incident likely increased sales of the Ford Bronco by an additional 7,000 purchases in 1994 compared to 1993. Also, I want to say there were people on the side of the road with signs that said "Run, Juice, run, go, Juice, go." It was crazy. I remember it. I remember they broke in on whatever I was watching on TV with it. I remember it very clear. Many advocates for victims of domestic violence consider Brown's death as instrumental in Congress prioritizing the passages of the Violence Against Women Act. The act that was passed in September of '94 created the National Domestic Violence Hotline. The pursuit, arrest, and trial of Simpson were among the most widely publicized events in American history. Simpson's Integrated Defense Counsel team, called the Dream Team for a reason, included Rob Kardashian, Johnny Cochran, Robert Shapiro, F. Lee Bailey, and Alan Dershowitz. The prosecution for the state of California was led by Marcia Clark and Christopher Darden. I remember the trial. I watched it. It was 9 months long, and I watched it every damn day of it. The judge was Judge Lancito. The trial ran from January to October of 1995, making it the longest trial in California's history. It was often characterized as the trial of the century because of its international publicity, likened to that of Sacco and Benzetto and the Lindbergh kidnapping. The trial was televised via a remote control camera installed above the jury box, and it increased interest in reality television. Minor figures in the trial became celebrities, such as the resident of Simpson's guest house at the time of the murders, Kato Kalin. That poor guy, do you remember he made such an ass out of himself? Like, he just looked like a dumbass, right? But I felt bad for him, he was just a guy trying to make it, mooching off his buddies. He was friends with Nicole and OJ. Anyway, the jury sequestered for 266 days, also the longest in California history, and ended up including 10 black people in a 12-person jury. Before the trial began, it was discovered the police investigation had been flawed. Photo evidence had been lost or mislabeled. DNA had been collected and stored improperly, raising a possibility that it was tainted. I remember that, y'all. I'm telling you. That was the first big case I'd ever seen from start to finish. Okay, so we all know what happened. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Johnny Cochran's coined phrase, because OJ couldn't get the glove on his hand, right? So he was acquitted. He was found not guilty. So following Simpson's acquittal of criminal charges, the families Ron Goldman and of Nicole Brown Simpson filed a civil lawsuit against Simpson. Daniel Petrocelli represented plaintiff Fred Goldman, who was Ron Goldman's dad, while Robert Baker represented Simpson. Superior Court Judge Hiroshi Fujisaki presided over the case, and he barred television and still cameras, radio equipment, and courtroom sketch artists from the courtroom. The trial excluded discussions of racial issues, which were considered inflammatory and speculative. On October 23rd of 1996, opening statements were made, and on January 16th, 1997, both sides rested their case. On February 5th, 1997, a civil jury in Santa Monica, California, unanimously found Simpson liable for the wrongful death and battery against Goldman and battery against Brown. The Brown family had not filed a wrongful death claim. Simpson was ordered to pay $33,500,000 in damages, $8.5 million in compensatory damages to the Goldman family, and $12.5 million in punitive damages to each family. His net worth at the time was $11 million. In February 1999, an auction of Simpson's Heisman Trophy and other belongings netted almost $500,000, which went to the Goldman family. The Goldman family also tried to collect Simpson's NFL $28,000 yearly pension, but failed to collect any money. On the night of September 13, 2007, a group of men led by Simpson entered a room at the Palace Station Hotel Casino and took sports memorabilia at Pew Pew Point, which resulted in Simpson being questioned by police. Simpson admitted to taking the items, which he said had been stolen from him, but denied breaking into the hotel room. He also denied that he or anyone else carried a Pew Pew. He was initially released after questioning. 2 days later, Simpson was arrested, and he was initially held without bail, along with 3 other men. Simpson was charged with multiple felony counts, including criminal conspiracy, kidnapping, assault, robbery, and using a deadly weapon. Bail was set at $125,000 with stipulations that Simpson had no contact with the co-defendants and that he surrender his passport. Simpson did not enter a plea. By the end of October 2007, all 3 of Simpson's co-defendants had plea bargained with the prosecution in the Clark County, Nevada case. Walter Alexander and Charles H. Cashmore accepted plea agreements in exchange for reduced charges in their testimony against Simpson and 3 other co-defendants, including testimony that pew-pews were used in the robbery. Co-defendant Michael McClinton told a Las Vegas judge that he too would plead guilty to reduced charges and testify against Simpson that pew-pews were used in the robbery. After the hearings, the judge ordered that Simpson be tried for the robbery. Trial began September 8th of 2008 in court in Nevada District Court. True story, my sister and I were in Vegas when this trial was going on. And I kind of heard about it, but I was like, what in the heck is all this media and all this crap that's going on? It was Simpson's trial. The trial began on September 8th, 2008 in the court of Nevada District Court. Judge Jackie Glass before an all-white jury, in stark contrast to Simpson's earlier murder trial. Simpson and his co-defendants were found guilty on all charges on October 3rd. On October 10th, Simpson's counsel moved for a new trial de novo, on grounds of judicial errors and insufficient evidence. Simpson's attorney announced he would appeal to the Nevada Supreme Court if Judge Glass denied the motion. The attorney for Simpson's co-defendant, C.J. Stewart, petitioned for a new trial, alleging Stewart should have been tried separately and cited possible misconduct by the jury foreman. Simpson faced a possible life sentence with parole on the kidnapping charges and mandatory prison time for armed robbery. On December 5th of 2008, Simpson was sentenced to a total of 33 years in prison with the possibility of parole after 9 years in 2007. In September of 2009, the Nevada Supreme Court denied a request for bail during Simpson's appeal. In October 2010, the Nevada Supreme Court affirmed his convictions. He served his sentence at the Lovelock Correctional Center as inmate 1027820. In December 2021, Simpson was granted an early discharge from parole by the Nevada Division of Parole and Probation for good behavior. In May of 2023, Simpson reported that he had been diagnosed with cancer and expressed confidence that he would beat it. He also said he started chemotherapy. In February 2024, it was reported that Simpson was undergoing treatment for prostate cancer. A week and a half before his death, Simpson canceled a scheduled memorabilia signing because he was not feeling well. In the final days before his death, all of Simpson's children visited him. He died of the disease on April 10th, 2024 at the age of 76 years old. All right, y'all. So I was able to connect with OJ. You guys know this is my opinion. Don't sue me. Entertainment purposes only. So be careful what you wish for. I had made the comment on Friday Night Live that I would love to connect with OJ. I wanted to hear his side of the story. So I was sleeping the other night and was awoken from my sleep by OJ. Okay, so he started ranting about how he had partially Nicole. He went on to say that she deserved it because of the way she treated him and how she disrespected him. Here's the sad part of it. Okay, you ready for this? Here's one of the sad parts. He said that while this was going on, his young son that he had with Nicole woke up and walked downstairs and peeked out the door. OJ said he was covered in blood, and he told his son to go back upstairs and go to bed, that he was having a nightmare. So I said to OJ, did you ever talk to your son about this? Like, as he got older, since he's, like a 33-year-old man when you died? And he was like, no, he never brought it up, so I don't think he remembers it. He always thought that Nicole's death was a result of a deal gone bad. I was like, okay. Ironically enough, OJ said that that same son came to stay with him and take care of him when he wasn't feeling good at the end. Okay? So OJ proceeded to tell me that he did not do this alone, but that he couldn't say who did it because he didn't want this person to get arrested because there's no statute of limitations on death or murder. You guys, so he was nice to me, I guess you could say, but he was extremely narcissistic and sociopathic, and he reiterated several times that she deserved it. She deserved it, and that boy, he just got in the way. The boy just got in the way. He also said, I didn't finish them off, so I don't know why everybody thinks I killed them. What? I said, OJ, you are married to this woman. This is a mother of 2 of your children. And she was her entire almost came off. And he said, I didn't finish them off, so I'm technically not the one who... I said, I think you did. I think you're full of... Yeah. He then started telling me about the murder trial. He used some pretty horrific language to describe the jury. He called them stupid N-words. And he said the only reason that he got off was because he was black. He said, because of the black jurors. If I were white, I would have been found guilty. He talks about if it doesn't fit, you must acquit, that Johnny Cochran came up with. He said, first of all, the gloves were soaked in the red stuff. And when leather gloves are soaked in the red stuff, they shrink. He was also told he had severe arthritis issues. He was also told to stop taking his arthritis medication. So he went for, several months without taking it. He said many months, I think was his exact terminology. So his fingers swelled, his hands swelled. So, yeah. He went on to say that he doesn't see Nicole or Ron where he is, which I can understand why. So when he was talking about, getting away with it and everything, he said, oh yeah, there was blood from my Bronco all around inside my house and outside of my house. And I still got off. I mean, he was literally bragging that his entire house was covered in blood and he still got off. He was bragging about it, y'all. He talked about how he was so easily able to outsmart the detectives, which I found hilarious. And I pointed out the fact that, but did you really outsmart the detectives? Because you just got done telling me that the reason you got off was because there were stupid N-words primarily on the jury, and that because you were black, they let you get away with it. So did you really outsmart the detectives? No. I think called him a sociopath, a narcissist, I don't know, a few other choice words, which he kind of just laughed off. So, ironically enough, he was very cocky and like he was better than everybody, right? So he ended up saying, I was so smooth that they never found my clothes or the knife. He said, you know why? Because I dumped it at the airport in plain sight. Everybody knew who Juice was. Everybody knew me. Everybody knew me. Okay. And in front of all these people, I was able to dump all of them. That's what he said, y'all. I'm telling you, that's what he said. Unfortunately, after I connected with them and was done, I fell back to sleep. And wouldn't you know it, I saw the whole gruesome murder as it was unfolding. I can't even, it was so bloody and disgusting. Like, it's terrible, you guys. So, listen, this man is exactly where he needs to be, okay? He was quite proud of himself and the fact that, you know, he was proud of himself that, you know, he started everything, but he wasn't the one that finished the two off, that guy and Nicole, and that she deserved it, and that he had someone else with him that actually finished them off, which I do know who that person is, but I will not be saying that on here. I don't know the depth of OJ's control even from the grave. Okay. You know, he always came off as cocky in his commercials, and even, listen, I even saw a couple of his Instagram videos and posts, and he always came off, you know, that were like the last 6 months. He always came off so cocky and like he was, you know, just so great. But like I said, he wasn't nasty to me or disrespectful, okay? But he's in a very bad place. And of course he's in a very bad place. He couldn't even admit to the fact of what he frickin' did. Here's the other thing, you guys. So he was talking shit about his own children. I kid you not. He made the comment that his one child, you know, came to take care of him, but they weren't even effing there for him at the very end. He said there was a friend with him, wouldn't say who the friend was, said that none of his kids were around at the very end. He said, you know, they should be grateful. Let me get this right. They should be grateful after everything I gave them, that they even have what they have. Yes, he said that. He's where he is for a reason. He made a couple of other comments about, you know, man, you know, everybody talks this bullshit about heaven and God. And he's like, man, I told God, you know, I deserve to be up there. Not, I told God that I'm so very sorry for taking the life of my wife, the mother of my children, and another man that had nothing to do with anything. He couldn't even, like, you know, he's where he is for a reason. He's a sick human being. The world's a better place without him. I'm glad he's gone. And, you know, I don't like to say that because, of course, I don't want to see anybody live in hell for the rest of their lives, but come the fuck on. Like, he's where he needs to be. And like I said, he wasn't nasty to me. He was very polite. But that doesn't make up for the horrible things that he said. I mean, the jury who let him off to where he wasn't in prison for the rest of his life, he called them stupid N-words. He talked about how stupid they were. They were morons. They were dumb. They were stupid. They were whatever. You know, I forget the words that he used. I don't know, you guys. He's where he should be. The world is definitely a better place without him. And it was just horrible, the shit that he said, you guys. I've dealt with Charles Manson. I've dealt with the J.E. freak. You know, I've dealt with many, many people that are in hell and that have had some really shitty things to say. And like I said, he wasn't shitty to me, but he definitely thought he was all that. He definitely talked down about everybody in his life. His kids, like, he talked down, you know, they were pathetic because they couldn't even be there with him at the end. Like, I'm just saying, you guys. He's pathetic, and it's a good thing he is where he is. Be nice, be kind, stay safe, stay healthy, and that about does it for me, guys. Have a great week.